Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Greg Jones with Engine Builder. Today we've got a real special shop takeover. We're in Ball Ground, Georgia, north of Atlanta, checking out Proline Racing. These guys really don't need any introduction. They do some next level, high performance racing stuff. We were just in there a second ago before getting on camera. They basically said if it doesn't make at least 2,500 horsepower, they don't even do it. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're about to see. I'm excited. I've never been here before. This is my first time seeing the shop. So come join me. Let's go check it out.
No shortcuts, no substitutes, no compromises. Great racers and engine builders choose driven racing oil.
All right, guys, so here we are inside Proline Racing. I told you this is a awesome next level shop, and you can see we're in their front lobby / trophy room here with all the Wallies on the wall. And we're joined by co-owner Eric Dillard. Eric, nice to meet you.
You too, yeah. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting us come check out what you guys do.
Yep.
We're excited. You know, before we walk around, you know, I said you guys really don't need much of an introduction, but for anyone who might not know yourself or might not know Proline Racing, can you just give us a brief history of how you got into this industry and how Proline Racing got started?
Yeah, well, my story started much like a lot of young guys. I was big into cars, really wasn't a family thing. Didn't really have anybody that brought me up in it, just a passion I had as a young kid. Really anything with engines, dirt bikes, and it was everything, karting. But it was all what I could drum up because it wasn't really much in the family but I got lucky when I was young, and I had a Mustang my mom helped me with when I was 16 and met Steve Petty and Tim Lynch. And back then in this area, they were from about 20 miles south of here, which is where I grew up. And they were already pretty into hardcore, like the Fun Ford stuff back in the day. The hot rod events, they were already very successful, but they also still loved to be part of the scene here. And I ended up working at a dealership in my first semester of college, and Steve would come up and dyno at our hub dyno. We were like one of the only ones. This was back in '03. So we were one of the only ones back then that had a dyno jet. It was a big thing. So he would build engines for people all over the country, and they would come there to do the dyno work. And you'd always know versus a street car versus when Petty was up there with a car. So I would go up there and get to know him. I was that annoying kid that asked a bunch of questions and was always in his ear. And I was actually working as a trans tech, just swapping transmissions in and out while I was going to my first semester of college. And Steve had got a job at a machine shop. So some things happened with Steve where he got into a car accident, ended up getting away from doing the tech work he was doing at a dealership and ended up doing a machine shop, kind of managing a shop and building engines. And when they got the engines done, they would come up there. Well, I bothered him enough and begged him for a job that he allowed me to come up and start working and cleaning floors and literally just tearing engines down and doing whatever tasks they need to be done. And it grew from that to where things kind of came to a head. He wasn't an owner, he was an operator, and had the same passion all of us did, but just was in the wrong role. He shouldn't have really been running it, and he knows that. And I kind of saw an opportunity that I could help him. Yeah. And he hired me, and he hired Doug, my business partner. So we were his last two hires. And then when things kind of the cash got low, the business was struggling. I was 19, had nothing to lose. I quit college, begged my parents for a loan, and ended up, it took me 2 months to talk Doug into going to business with me because he's a machine shop guy. He didn't really want to deal with people or sales. Yeah. So I promised him I would do that part, and he promised he would do the other. And man, that was 2003, 2004 when we kind of started that process and really took it over in '05. And it was just me, him, and Steve. Also, so, and we took it from that, and as a group, even though Steve, we consider Steve an owner. He's not on paper, but I mean, he's the loyalty and the bond of us three has never changed in 20 years. So we've all stuck together and just worked our different roles. And Steve's the tuner, Doug's the engine builder. I like to do the sales and running the business. And man, we were so lucky to get a very phenomenal group of people. And I know a lot of people say that, but our retainage has been it's not 100%, but it's close to it. We've had the same group for a really long time.
Oh, that's
Everybody's
awesome.
stuck together. We all treat each other well, and with that through our employees, through our clients, it just kind of resonates through the whole deal. So that's our story. So that's a short synopsis of it. But
Awesome.
the main thing is just a lot of good people sticking together and all headed in one direction, and that's what what we were able to build all this. So very cool. It took a team for sure. Yeah,
that's great. So Eric, we're gonna start walking around here in a second, but before we do, just set the stage for the folks. How many square feet do you guys have in total, and then how many employees are part of the team?
So there's 24,000 square feet here between the office and sales, the machine shop, and then we also house race teams for guys, mostly guys that are international. And then there's 25 employees that are here every day, mainly running the day-to-day inside these four walls. But then, man, our team of tuners and car chiefs and support we have outside is another 15 to 20 people, that we all work hand in hand with, like week in, week out. So a lot of those guys don't come here much because the demand at the track is so high.
Yeah.
We're doing our part, they're doing their part. But if you brought the whole team together, there's probably 40 of us.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, Eric, I'll let you lead the way, and we'll follow behind.
Go check it out.
Driven Racing Oil's GP1 Nitro 70. Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts across the world, Driven takes legendary base oils, such as the ones from Brantford, Pennsylvania, which comprise our GP1 line. Then, we boost that superior base oil with state-of-the-art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti-wear protection, but can shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by methanol or nitro-based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following us on Facebook or Instagram at Driven Racing Oil, or shop now at drivenracingoil.com.
Some of our fun moments. This was back when we first put the ProCharger deal together and
Nice.
went down to lights out, and this is back when the 100 grand Sweet 16 thing and first 350s with a ProCharger, and I think first 350s on drag radial. So
Nice.
that was a fun week. So we had a fun run with Jegs. So this was a lot of our success in NHRA started with R2B2, and then Troy signed up with us, and Petty and Troy had they almost won a runner-up every year together from 13 to 14 all the way to 17. They had that was a fun. We dedicated the whole haul to that because it was a fun experience for all of us.
Oh wow, look at this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so mainly, a lot of people always ask, do you build the parts for the engines? Do you build the engines? So we've always focused on buying parts from vendors. We don't do any manufacturing here at all. Everything we do is pulling together what we feel at any given time is the best combo to be competitive out there in the field with our customers. So we just haven't, with the volume that we do, us actually manufacturing here, it's such a niche business that there's just not enough to do manufacturing for us. So everything we do, we mainly just take parts from vendors and do the final machining, setup, and build because we're more into the whole package. So it's not just the engine, it's the power radder, it's the trans converter, the team. So ours is more packaging it all together, not really manufacturing one thing.
Gotcha.
So we've definitely added a decent amount of equipment in the last 2 years to try to not have to outsource much when it comes to anything to do with service work.
Yeah.
So we added a few pieces. I think we got the total machining center from Routler over the winter. And,
here we can walk around. And
so this was the machining center we were talking about. So this was kind of our last bigger purchases, which the guys are just loving this thing. This is one of those wish we would have had it 4 years ago type deals. So
the Routler stuff's nice. And,
it's really nice. They've been good to us and great to work with. And we added the CNC hone, which has been another huge addition to the shop as far as efficiency and getting stuff done. So you can one of those set it and forget it to a degree, right? No more manual hone for now. They do for certain projects, but it just depends on what they're doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of things we have 2 of everything, just because the volume of work we do, we end up needing. We can't get locked up on a mill, so we have 3. You know, we sometimes that even if they're in this and honing a block, if we need to knock something out real quick, they'll still jump in the other one. So most of the stuff you'll see in here, there's a lot of twos. You know, when it comes to just being efficient and being able to make sure we can. Our big thing's deadline, so we don't like to miss on a deadline. So we'll add whatever equipment we need to not have to push people back.
And I assume you guys really don't send anything out. You're doing everything in-house.
No, you know, it's one really cool thing that I think it's just neat that how things end up working out. But Doug's always been really close with Warren Johnson, and Warren still at this point can it's amazing how much work Warren still does.
Yeah.
And so he's been an asset to us. So he ports cylinder heads for us. He does block repairs. So when we're busy and the volume of work's too much, we take stuff to Warren.
Yeah.
And when you take it to Warren, you better be ready the next day to go get it, because that's how Warren is.
Yeah.
You give him something within 12 to 24 hours, you're going to pick it up and get it back.
Oh, wow.
So he's been an absolute huge asset. So he has most of these machines that we've been purchasing.
Right.
But just in case, so that if we needed to be able to do it on our own, but having relationships like that, there's not much we send out, but he's one of our key partners that does a lot for us. But you know, who would have thought when we were younger that Warren Johnson would be helping us do work? Just really cool.
That is very cool.
And just such a wealth of knowledge dealing with people like him, which has helped us in many different ways. But I mean, the guys are super efficient back here. We've got an actual, you know, what you would call more in a dealership like a service advisor, but he's our machine shop manager, so he works with all the clients, manages all the deadlines, works with the parts department and the machine shop to make sure we stay on task. We task work every day. Things get shifted around on our task board daily. It's all digital. So we might have to, parts are such a tough thing in this industry, and we try to do a great job at inventorying, but we can always be missing something. So the amount of movement that's happening day to day is it's a lot. So it cuts down on having to do as many meetings, and a lot of it is just communication. But on the fly, and it helps having somebody like that here to do that.
For sure. I bet.
That's our cylinder head department. So it kind of goes tear down. We tear down back here, we inspect everything, and then it kind of drops off to its respective area. But we added the new one years ago, and that's been another just unbelievable addition to the shop. So
I've heard nothing but good things about the new ones, as well as like the Rattler stuff. Everyone's usually pretty psyched to have Rattler equipment. And
they're all the ones that you buy, and you're like, oh, how did we even get to buy without this? They're amazing. I mean, look, right? It's if he was on the VGS, it's all manual, right? So it's a huge, and when you're working with this type of parts, that's the kind of equipment you need to be using, right? So.
You said this was the teardown area.
This is the teardown area. So we mag all the cranks in house. And we actually mag everything. We mag the crank, the cams, the steel rockers. We just want to make sure anything we put back together for a client, we're not going to run into an issue when they just came to us for a full service. We want to really deliver. We consider one of our used engines back to a client should be no different than brand new, right? We inventory all the Lambo stuff back here. That's the stuff we do for underground is a lot of volume, and it's almost like its own little business inside our business. My business partner, Doug, which we'll meet in a minute, that's his baby. He's been doing these since 2009 and built, he'll have to give us the number, but we've probably built 400 of them. Wow. He's been pretty steady on that for a really long time and assembled every one that's ever left our building. That's cool. It's a neat thing for him, and that whole deal has made all of its own accomplishments, and those guys have just been, it's a cool story, really. We met them in the small block Ford days, because that's where we came from. And there used to be this company called RDI in North Carolina, and it was race parts distributors, and they sold aluminum small block Ford blocks. Well, Underground got started with Saleen S351 Mustangs. That was their little niche. And then one of those Saleen guys had a Viper, and we did that really strong for 5 or 6 years. And then one of those guys in 09 had a Lamborghini, and they took it on. They were kind of one of the first ones to aftermarket, to really take on and build a Lambo, and they did. And then from 09 to now, it's just been insane. So the Lamborghini thing's been great.
That's cool.
So it's been a really fun process for us. And I think the coolest thing is we met them and started doing business with them in 02, and we didn't even own the business till 05, and the relationship's as strong as it was. So it's been 23 years straight.
That's awesome.
Which is just really cool.
Awesome.
So,
but Eric, your bread and butter is more stuff like this, right?
It is. This is really one of our key engines. So this is an MH6 or 7. It's hard to tell because everything on the inside is the head is the main difference. But we do these for ProCharger and turbo. This is what would be in like a top running turbo car, or our top ProCharger stuff. And we have, we do a lot of, this comes from AJ, this whole platform as far as the block heads, the main platform's built off an Alan Johnson Hemi. And again, another just phenomenal partner of ours. We stumbled upon a 41X back in 2011 with the Roger Burgess at R2V2. He had already had it. Yeah. And we're like, oh, well, this will work. We'll just build this. And that was a huge, 41s became kind of our staple engine for a really long time. And then we grew into the Hemi with Alan. And so from 11 till now, he's really been our main supplier for our engine platform. And we started using the Noonan 49 for a lot of the screw stuff, and then we're building an AJ 49 now that's we've been working on for over a year, and we're like literally within the next 3 or 4 weeks hope to put the first one out the door, so we're super excited about that. Yeah. Probably the most effort we've put into a new project since we've been in business.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's neat just seeing all the cool billet pieces you guys. I mean, look at these heads.
Yeah, so that's
gorgeous.
That'd be a 49 Noonan.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got Daniel, my brother-in-law here.
Hi, hey Daniel.
Yeah.
Greg. Yeah, nice to meet you. I'm with Engine Builder.
Yeah, so they're checking us out. That's Jonathan. He's also he's been with me for a really long time, and he's kind of headed up our cylinder head department. He believed in us back a long time ago, so Jonathan's been with us for a long time. So we've got a lot of guys that have been here for 10, 15 years.
That's what you were saying. That's incredible. That's awesome.
Yep, so just
good amount of parts.
Yeah, all the rebuilds. So those are all pallets of parts that are cleaned and ready to be reassembled.
Okay.
And then once they get to the point of where we're ready, they'll actually put them on a 4-tier cart and break everything down. So the engine builder's really just rolling that cart in with everything already handled between machine shop and between the parts department to be able to go into the room and be assembled. So try to make it as efficient as possible and recheck this. So we inventory the pallet before it goes in. We inventory the cart one more time. Yeah. Just hoping that when the builders get a hold of it, they're not coming to grab us for any issue, right? Because all that does is push us back on lead time. So this is we do most of our new builds, our rebuilds over there, and this would be all of our new builds. Okay. That's why all the new parts on the bottom for new engine builds, and then some of our bigger component inventory stays out here on pallets for cranks and oil pans. And we try to really be efficient on keeping as much as we can here, so that when these guys are in the field, our big thing is to not say no. That's just I don't want to say no ever. Yeah. So if we
keep them going.
Yeah, if we can keep them going, and that's our main deal. This is kind of cool. This is a very common part that goes. So we call this a rack, but this is a complete drop-in, ready-to-go rack with rings already filed. So at the racetrack, a lot of times instead of just putting rods in a motor, most guys will drop this whole rack in. They'll send this rack back to us, the one they pull out of the motor. Yep. We'll check for what's good on pistons, what's good on. So a lot of times you'll see these going out. They'll have used pistons if everything's good, used pins, but everything new back on them again. So, and for the sake of time at the racetrack, because these things are, to service and to move so fast, they'll just drop a whole rack in like that.
Oh, very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Looks like you got a little bit of a cleaning area here.
Got the ultrasonic and the greaser, and then they got the other stuff was back there in tear down. But that thing's running all day, every day. Yeah. So
Eric, how many engines do you guys get through in a given year?
Usually about 11 to 12 a month would be an average. So in that 120 to 135 range. Okay. So there's 3 guys in the build room every day, but a lot of that is 2 guys really building that main core of the 120-ish, and then Doug's doing a lot of Lamborghinis. He'll step off a Lamborghini sometimes when we're in a bind on lead times and he has a window, but most of that volume is all through those 2 engine builders. Wow. So it's a lot for 2 guys, but they're efficient, and they
helps keep the quality too, right?
Oh, it does, exactly, and that's what's key. So this is our parts room. Like I said, some of it's in here, some of it's out on pallets for the bigger stuff, but as you can see, we do our best to keep a pretty good volume of stuff here just for what we have in the field. I think we were looking yesterday, and for the AJ platform, like we sold 147 of those one specific block. So just on that one specific platform, there's 147 engines out there, and at any given time, let's say 60 or 70 are in service. Well, sometimes we can go 3 or 4 weeks and we might only sell 3 or 4 sets of rods. Sometimes we can go 2 days and sell 11 sets of one length. Right. So if you're not truly prepared for it with that many out there, the parts can go quick. So these guys have their work cut out for them making sure we have what we need to keep everybody going. But the other thing I was explaining is things change so much in this industry. So, when we're out in the field, rules might change. A tuner might want a different compression than he used to, or he might want a different stroke. So the parts are so niche. If we change that platform, a lot of times those parts are just not good anymore, right? So we're trying to keep up with the volume, but then we're also trying to listen in on what's happening in the field, because at any given time, if that shifts, you could end up taking $50,000 worth of one specific, very niche part and just having to put it on the pallet and put it away.
Yeah.
It's literally becomes paperweight, right?
Wow.
So to play that back and forth you have to stay in tune, you have to stay in touch, because if you don't, it can be so detrimental to the business. So that's like the tuner out chasing the tune-up. We're here chasing that side of it to make sure we're staying in tune, because it's challenging, but it's fun. That's what, if it wasn't challenging, then we all want to talk about how hard things can be, but a lot of times that's what brings us back every day. So it's I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy chasing and making sure that we're staying on that edge, one, for performance and being on the cutting edge, but two, making sure that we're not hurting this side to stay, because it's a tricky game to stay there.
Oh, I bet.
So we've gotten to the blower stuff lately, so we got lots of screw blower, and
nice.
That's become a big part of our business in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Now, have you guys pretty much stuck with suppliers you've used, for the history of the shop, or have you guys?
We don't.
With recent, lead times on parts and COVID and whatnot, have you guys?
We've had to shift some, And like let's say for rod manufacturers, we were maybe at 1 or 2, but during COVID we were at 5.
Yeah.
And now it's funny, we were having these meetings this past week, but we're back to 1 or 2 again. There's some that just take care of you, and that we're very loyal to a fault. You have to give us a reason to leave. We're not going to leave because of price. We're not going to leave. We're going to stick with companies if they stick with us. So if we're both doing exactly what each side's doing and is mutually beneficial, we're not going to move. We like working with people, right? So if the people and everything, don't get me wrong, this business is built on performance, so you have to perform.
Sure.
But most of the companies, if there's good communication and everybody's working together, it's kind of like the underground thing or AJ on the Hemis, and we don't move much. I see a lot of value in working with one person and staying. So
this is cool.
We do house a lot of cars. A lot of it could be just something we're just here for service for a week. It's right now, we have a lot of Australians. Australians love drag racing, right? So we have a lot of great customers from Australia. So literally not these 2 front cars, but everything from there back, all 4 of those are all from Australia.
Okay.
So
Hey, you want to walk? Yeah, we can walk back.
Yeah, a lot of we try to keep them covered up, just keep.
Keep them clean.
Yep, keep them clean. But this is Grantley Skloss. He's from Australia. He came over and kind of jumped into this and wanted to run Pro 275. So he found a car, brought it to us. We redid it. He's had a lot of success. He's won his first 2 to 3 races. Awesome driver, awesome relationship. This guy's been great to work with, but pretty neat. I mean, it was a cool story. Him and his wife walked in our front door. Never met him before, never got a phone call, and told me that he found a car he wanted to buy and he wanted to drag race in the U.S. and wanted to know if we could take care of him. And it's just not every day that somebody from another country walks in and is looking for your what we offer. And I always said, usually you get a call, right? It was just a cool experience for him to walk in with his wife, and we started a deal here, and it he's been as much of a pleasure to work with as I feel. It's been a really good relationship both ways. But and then you've got some brand new Pro mods that are all turbo. So this is Andrew Zada from Australia. He hasn't been able to come over as much. And then this is the Zabolics, and then that's John Ricca, the screw car. These guys had a lot of success in the last few months running drag radio and Radio Versa World. They went 340s on a radio, and so a little bit of everything. But and we try to service them and maintain them here for the guys. And if we need help with transportation, if we need help with crew, the cars get serviced here. We try to do everything for them in house if we can.
That's cool.
So,
how long have you guys been offering that service?
For a long time. I mean, we've been in this building since 2011.
Okay.
And we've kind of been in that we've been working in that space, doing that kind of stuff really since then. and we've been able to add a few more guys to be able to do this on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of it's hard to have people to do it full time because there's not full-time work, but a lot of our machinists like to, work a full day and come over here and work for 3 or 4 hours, and they like to get both sides of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
that
helps a lot too.
Yeah, that's really neat. I'm sure the racers love that,
Oh, yeah.
you guys offer that.
Yeah. And it helps not having to, support a full-time guy for those guys that are here from another country, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big commitment to come in the first place. So Grantley flies every month.
Yeah.
Once a month from Australia to come race. It's wild.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. This is a huge truck. Is
Yes.
this something we can go check out?
Oh, yeah.
Here, I'll let you lead there.
So this is a very normal rig for our customers. This is a 56-foot trailer. A lot of our guys choose the tractor trailer setup because you can get more cars and more parts inside. The toters are nice, but you get really limited on the space what you can do with the trailer. So this way, with these, you can store engines, you can store transmissions, you can put cars on the bottom, cars on the top.
Yeah.
Most of them will take 2 golf carts if they're built right. So this is a very common rig for our guys. This is one of our customers out of Texas, and he actually had to pull away from racing just from commitments with family and work, but left the rig with us, and he allowed us to lease it to clients because he didn't want to sell the asset yet because he might want to go racing a year from now.
Yeah.
And he partnered with one of our bigger one of our teams to be able to work with them on some other cars. His car is over in the corner now. So
that's cool.
This is the car that ran the Drag Illustrated Winter Series.
Okay.
This was the car that won the championship with Cortuccio driving.
Yeah.
So this has been our first real screw project and commitment because we were turbo guys, then we went to the Pro Charger, and now we're just starting to get into the screw deal.
Okay.
So
nice.
Doing all the power riders.
Yeah.
So
that's really neat.
this is Chris, and
Hey, Chris.
Chris, he works for this team full time.
Okay.
So his role is he manages the whole team, the rig, the cars, and so to run one of these deals, if you want to run a series and you want to compete at that top level, if you don't have a full-time car chief to take care of it, I mean, it can be done, but the competition that's out there these days, these cars take a lot of maintenance, and if you don't stay on top of it, it just won't, the success won't come with it. So it's for a lot of our teams that run these series and also add races in between, without a full-time car chief, it's really hard to pull this off. Because most guys that can do it are running a business, right?
Sure.
And they have a family, so you have to have somebody that can really look after these things. To keep them out there and keep them running.
That's awesome.
And this is that team's car as well. This is the guy I was talking about out of Texas. So this is a new NHRA car for us, and we did a screw on it as well. So Rick Jones, and
that's awesome.
This is a brand new piece.
Looks like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. What kind of times will this run?
He's already been low 570s at 255 miles an hour, and that's what it's going to take to be competitive out there.
Yeah.
And we're still working through the new car blues on this one, but they're going to be out testing next week to get ready for Charlotte because they'll go to 4 wide. And but I think they'll have a good year with this car. It just needs a few more runs, but it's already shown a lot of promise.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this is Jose Gonzalez. This is a partner that's been with us for a really long time. About the time we moved in here, about the time 2011.
Okay.
And he's out of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And that's his pro import. That's a 2JZ.
Okay.
And with a 5-speed Liberty. And we've never really done these either. This was something new that he gave us the opportunity because he enjoys that market. And we were able to go 560s with it the other day. I think we maybe put up one of the fastest 8th-mile passes ever ran by a 2J.
Wow.
And so we're going to go back out more with this year. And one of our customers actually from Australia just bought the car. And we're going to stay together and run it the rest of this year and go to World Cup. And then it'll leave to go to Australia at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So this has been really exciting because it's fun when you do something, what we do every day, we still love and are very passionate about what we do, but to play with something like this every once in a while that's completely outside of what we're used to is fun. That's what we all love as car guys, right?
Yeah.
So, this is a completely different platform. Even me, when I got to go out and drive it, it was a neat experience. So, they're a completely different animal. I had a harder time doing a burnout in this car than anything I've ever done in my life. So they're very two-strokey. So it's nothing and everything, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but they're fun. You get to spray nitrous, and it makes 120 pounds of boost, and
Wow.
they're fun to run.
That's
so,
neat.
so a lot of his cars, I don't know if they're loaded or they're out getting work done, but he's got 2 more cars that usually stay here.
Okay.
So everything's always getting some kind of service, or we have a chassis shop local to us called RK Racecraft, which is a really key partner, so that when the cars come back, if there's any kind of like paint repair, there's any kind of chassis updates or anything we need, we work very hand in hand with him. He's one of the biggest people we're moving stuff back and forth with almost on a daily basis to keep all these cars running and keep everything rolling. So
yeah. Well, like you said, with everything you guys do between the engine side of things and then the full race car stuff, it definitely takes a dedicated team.
Yes.
And it's a lot of logistics to handle.
It is.
So, no, that's cool. You guys have figured out that system and the right personnel to make it happen.
Yep, and it all, like I said, it all comes back to the people. There's nothing to hide in here because it's the people that make it all work.
Right.
So we've been lucky to get a great group, and it comes, like I said, it comes from the employee to the customer. We just have a great group across the board. So we're very fortunate to be doing what we love every day. It's crazy that, there's a few days that do get stressful, but there's never a day I get up and I'm not excited to come here.
Right.
It's just always, we're dealing with race cars every day. So it's what better, right? It's a dream come true for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Eric, I think
You go check out the build room?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we can get in there. Let's see where all the magic actually happens there. Nice.
That's what they're working on today. So we got a Lambo, probably a street build, Doug.
Yeah.
And then it looks like one of our Hemis. So Scott Taylor
Nice.
that runs No Prep. Yep. So those guys are getting geared up for their new season, and so he wanted a spare bullet, so they're getting his spare engine ready. So I think they start in May, and then
Awesome.
This is our more common Lamborghini build. We do street builds more than anything. Probably even more than 10 to 1, probably 20 to 1, right? From a full-on race car build. But the Lambo street stuff is the core business of what they do, where they take a factory Lamborghini or Audi R8 and then twin turbo it, and fuel system and ECU, and they're really cool cars, and it's amazing what they've been able to do with these things over the years. So they go out and make 1,400 horsepower on pump gas,
Wow.
So
Wow.
and people do them. It's amazing that the Lamborghini community rebuilds those and works on them a lot like a Mustang or LS guy, right? There's not many cars of that status that people make those many modifications to,
Right.
but the Lamborghini market drives it for some reason.
Ferrari won't barely do it.
Yeah.
The Ferrari owners won't do it.
Right.
Yep. Because we dabbled in a few of those. We built a few Ferraris and they put turbos on them and they didn't pick up any traction. So the Lamborghini is what they've stuck with. And how many of you, we were talking, how many have you done in the last 15 years?
It's over 300.
300, okay.
Wow.
That's rebuilds and new builds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool.
It's been pretty consistent.
Well, and Eric was saying that, Doug, you're the one that's doing it solo, right? You've done 300 kind of on your own
From assembly.
from assembly
from
standpoint. Right.
There's about 5 of us that work on getting everything ready to go together. So
Yeah.
prepping the blocks and the heads, and everybody wants CNC ported heads, so Warren does those for us. And then there's about 5 or 6 of us work on getting everything ready to go together. And then, it's definitely gone way beyond what we ever thought.
Yeah, I'm
the
sure.
First time we ordered head studs for one, we had to order like 25 sets to get any kind of a deal. I thought, man, we're going to be selling anything forever. And then before you know it, you're ordering, 2 more sets. For
Yeah.
the same thing. So
Yeah.
it definitely went way beyond what we ever thought. And they used to do Viper and Mustang stuff at Underground, and when they started doing these and they had good success with them, they just quit fooling with everything else. They said these are easy to work on, they're a great platform for boost.
Yeah.
Their customers love them, they can set them up so you can drive it every day if you want to, and really not much maintenance to do to them once you get them done. The street builds almost never come back. The race builds, they treat like race cars, so
Sure.
you get them back for rebuilds
Sure.
because they run them so hard. But on these things, you probably get 3 out of 100 come back for something. So it's just rarely stuff goes wrong with them.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And I was telling him, like, you assemble all these, but between Joey and Todd, they're assembling almost every, Hemi style, motor we build. So I think we're talking 120, 10 a month on average, would be our number to go out the door on these, and then what he does.
Probably 20 a year of these.
Right.
So.
But for one guy, that's a lot. That's every few weeks, one's pumping out the door, right?
That's
so,
cool.
and then, they're holding on to a few we're just waiting on a few components. So we got a brand new 4.9 Noonan back here, probably just waiting on a few small things. Looks like another Hemi going together. That's actually a Chevrolet-based billet engine.
Okay.
That's a energy deal.
Yeah.
And then looks like a cast big Chevy. So we got a little bit of everything here today.
Yeah, nice.
So this is actually for Fuel Tech. This is going to be Fuel Tech's dyno mule for their.
Okay.
They're building a dyno kind of FT education car. So that's going to be their engine for that.
Nice.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I like seeing it in the build room.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and they'll just put, like I said, the guys will get everything ready for them, and they'll pull from here, and that way these guys can just keep rolling. And if something comes up, and this one they run into an issue, they roll that one out and grab one more, and keep on going.
Yeah, nice.
Because it's never perfect.
Right.
You try to not miss anything, but it's just with the nature of this stuff, it just comes up, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, very cool. Well, Eric, let me know if there's any other aspect of the shop we're missing. But
nah, just the guys. I'd love to go around and introduce every one of them. I know that's tough, but it's just that's the main thing. The guys are what pull all this off and make it work. So,
sure.
As you can see, since we've been in here, everybody's got a task and they're knocking it out.
Yeah.
And it's that's probably that is the key component, right? So, next week we're all going karting. That's
nice.
Nice. So we try to do something every so often to get everybody together, have fun, and
sure.
we have a really awesome karting track about 30 minutes from here, and so we all go up and do this big competition for the day, and we got onto that last year, and now they're already making bets and wagers, and
nice.
Nice. So it's we're all looking forward to that next week. So no, it's all about the team, man. We've got a great group. So I know I keep repeating it, but if I could go through and talk to each one, introduce each one, that's what I would do. But that is in the end, that's what makes all this work. So
excellent.
That would be the main thing.
Excellent.
But no, man, we truly appreciate you guys coming by, and it's an honor for you guys to even come and tour our shop and be able to show it to other people, and I want people, if anything, to know that as a young kid, the opportunities I had is, there's a lot of opportunities you're going to become faced with. It's all about, what you do with it. And I felt like I was lucky. I feel like I worked really hard, and I sacrificed a lot to be able to do this with a great group and with Doug doing it with me.
Yeah.
But there are opportunities that will get put in front of you in life, and it's all about, what you do with those to move forward. So I think it's just telling the young community there is still an opportunity out here for stuff like this in motorsports, and I think it's all about just getting good people together, and if you do it and you stay honest and you keep your word, there's a lot that can happen with it.
Yeah.
So you just want to see the youth and the young guys still do this.
Oh, totally.
And we still, man, we've been fortunate. We do an intern program, and we've gotten a lot of really great guys through that that still are very passionate about the industry, and that's what I love to see. So we've been adding a lot of young group here in the last 2 or 3 years. So
nice.
Just want to see more people come and continue this stuff on.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Eric, man, I really appreciate it.
Hey,
the pleasure's all ours in
Yeah.
terms of getting to see inside the shop
For sure.
and what you guys do. So really appreciate that and appreciate the tour.
Yep.
Guys,
Same to you guys.
hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Shop Takeover. If you guys have questions for Eric or Doug or anyone here at Proline Racing about what they do, make sure you drop that stuff down in the comments, and we'll try to pass that stuff on. But as you can tell, it's just some awesome engine work and awesome high-level racing stuff that's really, really cool to see. Wish we could see it on the track and see it running, but
For sure.
yeah, that's something that you guys have to tune in on the weekends and see that stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. For sure.
But, all right, guys. Well, outside of checking out what Proline Racing has going on, make sure you're checking out enginebuildermag.com for more great engine content. Again, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys next time.